How's that for a stream start?
Yeah, highest. We're doing some Soul Dark, man.
And Dark Souls looking different on my computer.
Yeah. So, doing a little filler episode of the Patty Rock cast today. I'm going to be grinding out for a weapon that I can't even use.
I'm playing a game called Wobbledogs, where you breed dogs. And that little like fake dog things. It's basically you know how pugs are all fucked up in the modern day, and like other dog breeds are as well.
So the game is about doing that.
Yeah, it's basically doing that. It's doing that to virtual dogs, basically.
Okay, fair enough.
But they're not real. Don't worry about it.
So you say.
It's fun. Last time I did make a Last time I played, I did make something that cannot walk. So. I feel bad about it.
Always a good time. Yeah, so, off of some of these guys in the Duke's Archive, they drop a really cool spear. I haven't leveled up my intelligence at all, so I can't actually use it, but considering that I'm like the spear boy, mirror boy for this playthrough, I figure I might as well have it. Just so I can say I have it. And also, it's not that hard of like a grinding spot, so like, just a good background noise for the stream.
Yeah. So, and mine's just... My stream is just going to be like me looking at dogs while they... Like Loaf right now is trying to eat some cheese, so...
Bye there, my lovely wife. Thanks for stopping by on your break. We might talk about Bungo.
Bungo?
Yeah, the current anime me and my wife have been watching is Bungo Stray Dogs.
Right, yeah.
Which ended up surprisingly good. Like, from the outside, it kind of looked to me like a bog standard, like, pretty boy supernatural anime. But overall, it ended up just being like pretty good all around. Action is good. Most of the characters are good, although the main character is like a whiny boy type that, you know, you may or may not get mileage of depending on your tastes.
Listen, I watched all the Evangelion. I can handle it.
You can handle a whiny boy. There's also a very nice change of pace if all you've been watching is, like, your standard shonen stuff. Because, like, you know, it's, you know, a lot of, you know, everyone has their powers. You know, sometimes it's overarching plot, sometimes it's like a problem of the week. But all the characters in this show are adults.
So does that mean, like, they... are just dysfunctioning adults, or?
Well, yeah, but you know, it's one of those things where it's like, you know, you can watch Hero Academia, see Kirishima take his shirt off and be like, oh yeah, that's sexy. And it's like, it only feels a little weird, because you know he's a kid, but he's not drawn like a kid.
Yeah.
So, you know, so it's like...
At least that's what everyone on the Reddit will tell you.
That's what they'll tell you. But, so it's like, you know, there's like a certain amount of weirdness you just kind of have to deal with if you're watching that. But, you know, if you're watching this, they're all adults, so when Chuya comes and, like, kicks someone in the face, you'd be like, oh, I wish that was me. And it's not weird. Well, it's weird, but it's not, like, put me in jail kind of weird.
So you say. Oh.
Next time I do a Dark Souls playthrough, I might do a magic one, for one. I don't know if I'm gonna do any of my, like, first playthroughs magic, but, like, I think for one, at least, I think I want my next playthrough to be a magic one.
Yeah, I highly recommend pyromancies as well. Pyromancies are a lot of fun.
I used a little bit of pyromancy on this playthrough, since I was leveling up my decks anyway.
Hmm.
I didn't really like dedicate to powering up my pyromancy, but it was like a useful thing for a couple of hearts. Just had that little bit extra range.
Yeah.
Man, oh yeah, so I guess, are you good if we do like a little bit of Dark Souls talk?
Yeah.
Okay, so we kind of talked about it in text form between the two of us, but the Demon Ruins is my favorite area so far. Well, I say Demon Ruins, but what I really mean is everything post-Quaylad to the Bed of Chaos boss fight.
Yeah.
Not the Bed of Chaos itself, everything between those 2 points.
Hmm. I mean, it's a really fun lead-up area.
Yeah. I think that the dynamic of having to deal with the lava is... Number one, it's honestly probably the prettiest part of Dark Souls in my opinion so far. Especially downscaling with the soft glow of a CRT's phosphors. But but I think that it's definitely the prettiest area I've gone through so far. Like, I just love the lighting on the on all the lava. Love the designs of the demons and the centipede man in particular, the centipede boss fight. Which,
yes.
even though it wasn't super hard because of, like, I guess the level I was at was a bit more than it was, because I guess you can do a lot of that stuff pretty early, right?
You can do it relatively early.
I definitely felt over-leveled for most of it. But I love the dynamic of getting past the centipede boss fight. Like, having to, like, you know, you either fight him at the start where you don't have much room, or you take the risk of dying to the lava to get to that middle spot where you have more room to fight him.
Yeah.
Love that dynamic. The fact that you can get the ring that lets you walk on water if you break one of his arms in the fight, so that you can do that to make the fight easier.
Larva. You should walk on water.
Oh, I meant lava. Although I actually found that out, like, dropping the rain. So I made him drop the rain on my second try on the fight. And then on my third try of the fight, I beat it. And then after that, I read the rain description. But I did beat the fight, like, without the ability to walk on lava, which I'm glad I did, because it was very fun and engaging to do it that way. What else do I really like about it? I guess the idea of having to, like, maintain your health as, like, you make these treks across the lava is something I like.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, you can either, you know, you can flash sweat, have your Estus ready, be ready to heal for, like, those short bursts to get, like, some of those items at the start. And then you get kind of like a toned down version of that, where you have to go much larger distances, but you have the range that makes the damage really small.
Yeah.
Once you get into Lost Isolith. And having to, like, get around those big dinosaur guys is difficult but engaging. It's just a really good area all around.
I think of that area, I really like the area, like, right after Ceaseless when you kill him.
Mm-hmm.
When the lava goes down. I think I really like that area.
And then you've got that huge swarm of demons that are guarding some items. And then as soon as you go through the door to, like, sort of head to, like, the deeper part of the Demon Ruins, you run into a smaller version of the Capra Demon that was, like, a boss earlier in the game.
Yeah, no, you run into a bunch of Like you run into Taurus demons as well.
Oh yeah, that's right, because the Taurus demon on the bridge was a boss too. Forgot about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, such a good area in terms of payoff. Like, Shadow, don't worry about it, baby boy. So yeah, a really good area in terms of payoff. Because you get, like, there's a, evolution of enemies that formerly were bosses are now just regular enemies. You get to kind of see some of, like, why Quelaag was the way she was. And if you dig into the lore, you get some of the tragedy behind that put into more perspective.
Mhm.
Good.
I wanted to say something about that, but no, I forgot what I was gonna say. I wanted to say something about that, but I forgot what I was gonna say. Oops. Oh well.
Oops,
the lore of the that whole area, the Lost Azelith lead up, is very good. I like it, and it has to do with all the witches of Quelaag, of course, and
keep talking, I'm paying attention.
all the witches. I said witches of Quelaag, which Quelaag is one of, and like all the other witches, and it's very interesting area lore wise. That's all I really wanted. Like, I don't want to go into like, welcome to my body video.
Welcome to my Paddy video.
Like, I'm not really.
Yeah, you're not like enough of an expert to want to like wax lyrically about it.
Yeah.
From a position of authority.
Well, it's not like I don't know what happens, but it's just like I don't want to. Like, just go watch a body video. If you're really interested, there's no way I could do it as good as somebody who's been doing it for however long.
I mean, Dark Souls is old at this point, right? Like,
yeah, 2011.
Like, this is a retro game stream for me right now.
I mean, same year as Skyrim, so hey. Is this what you meant when the dog was out? No, actually, look at the real life dogs real quick.
Oh, the real life dogs. Oh wait, do you have camo? Can I see them?
It's okay, they're sleeping.
Oh yeah, so I guess I could talk about the warping some more and the walking. So I've only had really 2 moments where I found the walking annoying.
Mm-hmm.
The first was walking back to try the battlements again, like that one part in Orlando that is awful and terrible and bad.
So you're saying?
Yeah, so having to walk all the way back there, having to choose between walking from the bonfire that gives you 10 Estus, or the bonfire that only gives you 5 but is slightly closer.
Yeah, I mean that's a trade-off.
Mm-hmm. So it's like, so that moment there was like one of the moments where I didn't like the walking, and then There was one other that I don't remember. There was only one other part where the amount of walking annoyed me, and I wish I remembered what it was.
Seath fight?
No, I think I've got that path pretty much down. I've given up on doing the fight for now. But I don't think the path is that bad now that I got it down. Still no Chandler's Trident.
That's where you're going for. Okay, the funny dance item.
Yeah. With a 1% drop rate.
But do you have the covetous serpent ring?
I knew I was forgetting something. I knew I was forgetting something. Knew I was forgetting something. Thank you, Paul. Alright. Rain of Steel Protection, you're gone now. Oh, I forgot I found. Oh, that's what that does. Okay. Thank you, Paul. I appreciate that. Your old Paggigalo being the MVP. Yeah, I think it's funny that I'm going for this because I don't think I have the intelligence to equip it, but like, I just kind of want it. Oh yeah, so in terms of the last time we talked, Paul, I've done about half or 30% or something like that of the, see, so I finished the Catacombs, got to the Tomb of Giants. Did the get pushed down by Funny Hee Hee Man.
Funny Hee Haw Man?
Yeah, Funny Hee Haw Man. Nyahaha. And then I beat the two guys that were hollow down there, and that's kind of where I ended it. I actually did all that this morning.
Oh!
Yeah, woke up before my wife did.
Well, she can't see the game state anymore, you know. Don't want her to know what happened.
Yeah. Can't let her know that I beat Sif.
Revealed it on stream reveal.
On stream reveal, I beat Sif. My wife hates me. Oh, I actually did tell her about it. And she was mad about me. Not just because I killed the pretty dog, but also because I beat the pretty dog before I could show it to her. So double whammy there. But let's see. Yeah, so I did the Catacombs this morning, and it was pretty good. I was definitely way over leveled for it, and also, because I had the Silver Knight Spear equipped as just my main weapon, just because that's what I'm using, I also don't have to deal with the main challenge of the area because none of the enemies come back. So I'm kind of cheesing right now. My apologies.
Part of the kind of reason why that area is so easy is because that's an area that you can literally go to from the beginning of the game, and I actually think benefits to going to pretty early, the Catacombs area.
Oh yeah, because then you can, because you can't kindle bonfires to make them better until you beat Pinwheel, right?
Yes, and it's also, I think the Catacombs is just, like you said, an easier area. It's not really that hard, and Pinwheel's also one of the easiest bosses in the game.
Yeah, oh, Pinwheel was laughable. I didn't even get hit. I beat him in, I think, 4 or 5 hits.
Yeah, Pinwheel is very easy.
Pinwheel's a Joker. Yeah, first, I remember we were talking about, you mentioned Pinwheel the other day, and I'm like, oh yeah, that boss is really hard, real pain. But I gotten him confused with, I think it's a boss from Dark Souls 2.
Dark Seals.
Yeah, Dark Souls 2. Which I think I haven't confused the Chariot guy, which I think is from 2.
The
Like,
yes,
oh, yeah, that's
yeah.
gonna be really hard. And then wasn't. Anyway, my channelers tried it. This has been a very successful stream.
Fuck.
I wonder if I should have equipped the One Ring a long time ago, in fact. Channelers tried it. Requires 24 intelligence. My intelligence is 11. Wait, what? Okay, okay. Break stream. Growlithe is back in stock on the Pokemon Center.
Oh, damn.
So we were going I really wish I knew that earlier when I made an order on the Pokemon Center.
I didn't really come prepared today, as you can obviously tell, but
Yeah, that's
you just found out recently my D&D game was canceled, Sag. So that's the whole reason why we're even doing this.
Lovely wife in the chat. Is there anything else that I should be adding to the cart? I should check on. I'm trying to remember. Was there anything that went out of stock on us that we were wanting? The biggest thing was that Growlithe, the Hisuian Growlithe blush.
Mm-hmm.
Because it went out of stock like immediately. I only missed the boat on it by like 3 hours and it was already out of stock. My wife's at work right now.
So she won't see you killing Sif for the second time.
You can't refight bosses in 1, right?
You can.
Is that a New Game Plus?
New Game Plus, yeah. New Game Plus. No, Dark Souls 2 is the one with the easy way to fight bosses again, yeah. But I don't really have much to say about Dark Souls Unprepared.
You know, that's fair.
But I want to look up a little bit. How newsy have you been? Newsy have you been in relating to the? I was gonna say gaming sphere, but I guess it doesn't have to be only related to the gaming sphere.
I've been pretty up to date. At least, like, I'm not, like, following any, like, real bid releases or news stories at the moment, but, like, if something big happens, it'll usually get pushed into my periphery, at least.
Mm-hmm. Anything recently?
So I guess the most recent thing is Square Enix stepping on its own penis multiple times.
I was thinking about talking about this one because this one is an interesting little story.
All right, yeah, shoot.
So you're talking about the Yuji Naka, of course, right? The Yuji Naka incident.
Oh yeah, I forgot there's. I forgot about that. I'm talking about the more recent one where they just sold a bunch of their stuff so they could fund.
That's a different. I mean, it kind of has to. We'll talk Square Enix at large here, I guess.
Yeah.
So, what do you want to start with?
Let's start with the Yuji Naka one because that one is less. that one is a combination of funny and frustrating, but it's not quite depressing.
That one's like both sides are the issue here. Is all like, like that's what that one's about. So Yuji Naka, if you don't know, recently came out his game, of course, Bayland Wonderworld. Everybody knows Wonderland, whatever the fuck it's called. I don't even know the name of it, but Bayland Wonderwall. Everybody knows about it, and everybody knows how much of a fucking failure it was. Yuji Naka comes out after 6 months after the game release. He hasn't said anything, and he says, "I haven't been able to say anything because I've been under kind of like this no talking thing because I want to sue Square Enix." So, a little strange. And he comes out and he basically says that Square Enix took him off the project about 6 months before its release, I think, or is it like 3 months?
I think he said it was. I think it was 6 months, but I'm not 100%.
Well, a bit before the release, they took him off the project. And he was like, Square Enix doesn't respect the integrity of the people that make their games. They don't respect the gamers that play their games because they don't let them be finished and blah, 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 blah. And this is where you have to look with the magnifying glass. You gotta get him real close and take a look at what's happening here. So, does Square Enix care about the gamers? First off, who fucking cares? First off, at the end of the day, who fucking cares? If a company like Square Enix doesn't give a shit about people that play their games, okay, like it's tragic for people who enjoyed the series, me and you included. But at the end of the day, I know that
they're a company, which means that they exist to make bad choices.
Yeah, and I know that
everything we get out of them is luck.
Right, I know the people that I care about, like pretty much just Nomura is going to continue to make games that he wants to make and enjoy at the end of the day. If you get my meaning.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, so Square Enix decides they want to just work on shitty gacha projects or NFT projects. I still know that there are people that work at Square Enix that I enjoy that will make good games. So here's the rub with Yuji Naka, okay? Because this whole story came out, and people on Twitter were like, being like, I can't believe this happened to Yuji Naka. He didn't get to make his game. So for the past decade and a half, 15 years, I want to say, Yuji Naka has not made anything worth shit. Like, I just want to put that out there. That's not to say that he wouldn't have made this a good game had he been able to finish it. But Yuji Naka and making a bad game isn't really a news story to me. But he comes out and says, I've been suing Square Enix for the past 6 months because they didn't let me finish my game. I'm like, really? This is your unfinished game? Because I could have sworn it was just another Yuji Naka project. Yuji Naka isn't known for making good things. Like, since the original good thing that he made.
Yeah, since like the Genesis days.
Yeah. So it's like... So anyway, he gets taken off the project. And he reveals in his little statement that he was taken off the project by like 20 people. The way he worded it was like it was a conspiracy theory against him, when in actuality it just sounds like you're a prick. Like, it doesn't sound like people are conspiring against you. It just sounds like you're a dumbass and everybody hates you. And if we look back at stuff from the past interviews about people who used to work at Sega while he was basically like one of the leads there, and all that stuff, we find out that Yuji Naka is a fucking prick. He's a big fucking prick. So the fact that, 20 people, quote unquote, conspired to get him off this project, probably just like, these people were like, I hate working with this dude. He fucking blows. He's just an absolute fucking weasel. And I don't wanna work with him anymore, so I'm gonna complain about it until you guys fucking fire him.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't blame him.
The situation really reads to me like the fact that Square Enix is so unpopular and does a lot of bad things. He like kind of uses this opportunity, like, all right, I'll put out this statement. Gonna Google translate it into English too, so everybody knows.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, hey, Balan Wonderland was not my fault, dudes.
Guys, you gotta believe me. Balan Wonderland wasn't my fault. In actuality, it was Square Enix's fault. I didn't make a shit one-button, weird design game and then get moved off the project when it was almost done in development and then pretend like I wasn't the cause of the issues. It was Square Enix. At the end of the day, whether or not you believe that he could have made it better, it's Yuji Naka, so. And it's not to say that the whole idea could not have been done good, but.
And not to say that Square Enix didn't like actually like shutter it earlier than they should have in terms of like working on it, because they probably did to some extent. Could part of the reason they did that be because the main person they had working on it they had to fire because they sucked? Who knows?
No, nobody knows. Nobody was there. Nobody could tell. I mean, it's like there was no evidence that anybody could tell that something was going on there. It's not like 20 people said something about one specific individual working there that was negative and required him to get fired. Not like any of that.
Yeah, of course.
Either way.
I mean, I think it's definitely an interesting story.
I think Square Enix. We're shitting on Yuji Naka here, but I think Square Enix is also at fault. It's not like Square Enix is clean of anything here. I think they also have issues.
But like, it's definitely to me reads like a case of Square Enix probably didn't treat Yuji Naka that great, but I mean, hey, that's from what I've heard how he treats everyone else. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no. But it's two assholes running together.
Yeah.
Unfortunate what happened, but also I don't really care about him that much. Yeah. It's like two buttholes. Getting angry at each other.
Have you read the tweet thread? Or have you seen anybody like talking about the tweet thread, like any articles or whatnot?
No, not really.
Okay.
I think because, like I said, Yuji Naka and making a bad game isn't really news. It's something that happens.
I know I saw like people mentioning the tweet thread and like hey, check this out. Not really like anybody saying much about it. I was just wondering whether or not the any articles about it actually included the context of Yuji Naka being a prick.
I mean, the context is, I think everybody who's looked into him a little bit knows, more or less, that he is one. because he's just not he's well known to be not a nice dude, not the nicest of dudes in the industry. And the question has to be, because Square Enix cut ties with him, I think, rightfully so, for Square Enix's part, whether or not you like them. I think it's fair enough for them to do that. But I think the question has to be, where does Yuji Naka go from here? Because I was like, why doesn't he just make his own company if he's going to be an insufferable prick to everybody? And that's when I found out that he did have his own company, and it didn't work out. Which is just... It's funny and sad at the same time.
Yeah. One of those things where it's like, kind of wonder what Sonic would be like if had a different game director.
I kind of wonder what Sonic would be like if... the people that were on the team weren't on the team, you know?
Yeah.
Like, obviously, it wasn't Yuji Naka making the game what it was. You can see from his past 15 years. It was probably, like, the developers and, design people that were working on the project alongside him at Square Enix. At Square Enix, bruh. At Sega.
Okay.
We're to Square Enix later. But at the end of the day, it's. I'm curious about what Yuji Naka is going to do. I don't think he's going to find any work at any companies anymore, because who would want him?
And even if he does, I don't think he's going to make anything good.
Well, it's like, who would want a guy that hasn't made anything good for the past 15 years and is also known in the industry to be an insufferable prick? It's like nobody wants to work with that guy. So it's like, I'll be interested to see if any company picks him up. But I'm not hopeful for it, I guess.
Yeah, I do not foresee that happening.
But anyway, moving on with the other Square Enix stuff. So Square Enix also dropped all their Western-based companies.
Yeah, so I think Eidos Montreal was one of the big ones. I think whoever it is that did the Tomb Raider games too.
Yeah, and then Square Enix, like Vancouver or whatever they were called.
Yeah, so Square Enix is just like...
They're just getting rid of all their Western developers, pretty much. And honestly, long time coming, because I've never not known Square Enix to not complain about their Western games departments.
Yeah.
So it's like, this was not something that was unexpected.
Even when they're good, or doing good.
Yes, it's like, at the end of the day, Square Enix, then at the end of the day, Square Enix got rid of all their Western development, and I'm fine with it, because they can go do something else and not work under Square Enix, and now Square Enix is going to have to find something new to complain about, which is just like, I'm going to be interested, because when people will say to Square Enix, most likely, like, hey, how do you explain your shitty game sales now that you can't blame Western developers? What are they going to say?
Well, you see, it was the Western developers that infiltrated our company.
Shake. No, it's just funny. At the end of the day, that's all you can do is laugh.
I remember the funniest thing I've heard said about the situation, though, was someone said, imagine how much the gamers are going to riot if Final Fantasy VII Remake gets canceled because of this.
It's not gonna get canceled because of this.
I know.
It's their biggest cash cow at the moment. Because Nomura's working on it as well. And that's something that I was saying, like, basically they're firing all their Western developers and being like, because they have Nomura and they have one other guy, I forget his name, that works on a lot of their games, and they're like, why can't we just have Nomura and this guy just be our game developer for every project and work them as slaves, basically? Like, why can't they just be the director for every game? That's what I feel like Square Enix is like saying right now, basically.
Man, Square Enix is so dumb. Then most companies have. Or most companies are dumb.
Yeah, most companies are very, very stupid. And it's not an insult to, I guess I not intending to insult your favorite company out here, you know, but I also am. Because
companies themselves.
Yeah, companies are so something you have to realize as a person, I guess, is companies are essentially, you know, they try to pretend like they're not, but they're essentially a big conglomerate of a person. So a company, in my mind, is held to the same standards as a person, where it's like, I don't know how I explain this really well, but it's like you want to. Oh, hello there.
Sorry, I didn't have a phone call. Alexander N. No, thank you. I have no idea who that is.
I've been getting a lot of phone calls where people have actual names on the thing, and I'm like, it's a little strange.
I ain't trusting it. Trust like that. But, yeah, I think I get what you're saying. It's like, companies are legally considered a person, and, they're like, it's like a big bundle of money-making incentives and property and ownership that, turns it into, like, this almost like a mythical creature of its own, power.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of which, if we're on just like the companies coming out as being not great punching horse, we're gonna talk about Nintendo of America next.
I was gonna say we could go around to some of the other companies. Nintendo of America is obviously one of the bigger ones.
Yeah. I mean, Nintendo of America has always had its stupid stuff. But have you heard about the union busting stuff recently?
No, I have not.
Okay, so there's been a lot of stuff going around recently about Nintendo of America being a pretty bad place to work. The main things specifically are that they have been, like, not letting companies organize, or not letting, like, their employees unionize or organize.
Mm-hmm.
And while Nintendo has always been a place that used contractors and kind of treated them as, like, secondary, secondary to, like, their actual workforce, apparently over the past, like, 5 to 10 years, like, basically since the Wii U stuff happened, it's been getting, like, significantly worse for contractors under Nintendo.
Really?
Yeah, so where it used to be, like, the contractors that didn't, like, actually work, like, as full-time Nintendo employees, which is a pretty standard thing for, like, companies in general, like, hire contractors, that way they don't have to give as many benefits or protections to their workers. But, so, like, Nintendo's always been doing that, but, over the past, like, 5-10 years, it's been progressively getting worse about it, like where the contractors have no advancement opportunities or really anything to work with. And it's got a big crunch like a big crunch atmosphere, which is a big thing the games industry has been
Yeah, I mean, that's...
getting highlighted over the past few years. A big crunch atmosphere, anti-union, and a lack of employment opportunities, which a lot of people have been saying is like a new thing to Nintendo of America. Like, there's also been a lot of stuff that Reggie's been saying recently, because he's been, talking about his time there, kind of in bits and spurts over the past few years.
Mhm.
And he's saying that that's something that, like, wasn't quite a thing when he left. Not sure how much stuff.
Yeah, it's a little... If you say, Reginald, if you say...
So, Nintendo of America specifically has been pretty bad the past few years to work at as a contractor.
Mm-hmm. I can understand that. I think if I was going to talk about Nintendo as a whole. I wasn't going to bring up Nintendo of America because I didn't know any of this. I didn't even know anything about this.
Well, I mean, this is obviously, like a more recent thing, but it's also not, like, different than just Nintendo and how they've been as a whole, really.
Mm-hmm.
Especially with all the mobile stuff they've been doing recently, like, Nintendo being just another game company is, something more people are starting to realize.
Yes.
So do you have any specific Nintendo stuff to go into?
I'm trying to think about it now. Oh, so now I'm like, nah, I don't even think I have anything related to Nintendo in at large. I was hoping you'd bring up something, but you just... I mean, you did bring up something, but...
Oh, did I go over something important?
No, I just when it comes to complaining about Nintendo, it's usually like they sussy when it comes to the fan interactions, stuff like that. I had not heard about their workers being negatively impacted. Usually that's something that people talk about positively about them, so...
Yeah. Well, from what I've heard, interacting with their full-time workers has still been pretty good.
Maybe it's something to do with
contract workers.
Yeah, maybe it's something to do with Japanese culture and like contract workers then or something.
No, I'm pretty sure it's a Nintendo of America thing specifically.
Really?
Yeah, because the whole contract worker thing is well, that's something that's happened in Nintendo. It's also I don't know if you've ever done any factory work or known anyone who has.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a very common it's a very common industrial worker thing here in America for them to do. Because if you're only a contract worker, then you're working with them on your terms technically, which means that they don't have to promise as much to you as they would. Because like if you're a full-time worker, you get certain workers' rights, but as a contractor, they can avoid a lot. So if they only hire contractors, and they convince you to be hired on as a contractor by promising stuff like advancement to full-time after a certain amount of time, or...
Mm-hmm. I get you. Less rights for contractors, basically.
Yeah.
Didn't we solve this shit in the Industrial Revolution? Come on.
America's history is the history of trying to pretend that unions don't exist.
Yeah, the history of saving money by all means possible.
Yeah. Let's see. What else is there to talk about? Is there any other game industry news you want to talk about? Or we could talk about Kirby.
There was. I thought there was some other stuff. There's let me see. Let me look up real quick. So I don't know if you saw what happened with Bungie on Twitter, or if you even care.
Yeah. They were talking about the Roe vs. Wade stuff.
So they were basically just they did a tweet about like abortion was the big one.
Uh-huh.
They were talking about how abortion rights should be there for everyone, and they were getting dragged across Twitter by people being assholes.
Yeah.
And the people on Bungie were basically saying like this concern, like that people on Twitter were saying like, "Oh, you're a games company, be a games company," and they were like, "Unfortunately, this concerns us because we want to worry about human rights, and the women that work in our company are, humans too." Basically, they're basically just saying we can do whatever the fuck we want.
Yeah.
They're saying if we want to support, abortion laws, we can do that because we're our own person. It's kind of the other side of the coin of the whole a company's a person thing. It's like a company can have opinions like that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm surprised they tweeted it, because, like, when they tweeted it, they were gonna get a bunch of gamer babies in their mentions.
Yeah, I mean, it's just gamers are crying out because they're very angry that somebody would support something that they don't like.
What would save us from the SJW elite? Oh, gamers.
Never change gamers, and by never I mean do it soon.
By never, I mean, please. God, please. Ooh, a divine ember.
I'm trying to think what other gaming related stuff. Summer's Game Fest is coming back this year, so I don't know, is E3 going this year?
Oh, I have no idea.
No, it's not. Okay, so it's E3 2022 is not happening. So Jeff Keighley announced the other day that he's doing Summer's Game Fest again this year, which is, for all intents and purposes, just E3 replacement. For the past couple of years, that's what it's been. It's just been E3, but a little bit better. because of COVID. Jeff Keighley, of course, is, people hate on Jeff Keighley. I'm a big fan of him. I like the guy. And he does a lot for the industry that I think people don't appreciate necessarily. And so he's holding his Summer's Game Fest again this year because I think whether or not E3 was happening, he's going to be doing it because he's kind of just like he wants to do it and run another thing like that. I had a thing like that. I'm trying to say, what word am I looking for? Which the word, I don't know.
I still haven't found what word I'm looking for.
Anyway, so he's doing Simmers Game Fest again this year. I'm happy he's doing it. I think all the companies are doing all their stuff as well, like Xbox and Bethesda are still doing like showcases, as if E3 were here. So, well, I mean, it's sooner rather than later. It's already May. It's going to be happening June or July, pretty much, is when we're going to get all the gaming news again. Oh, did you see later, better than never? A couple of games were inducted into the Gaming Hall of Fame.
Oh, I did not see
that. So the Strong Museum, it's just like this museum that has a lot of old games, and it put up a lot of games for... There are 12 nominees for games that could be inducted into this year's Gaming Hall of Fame, I guess. Mm-hmm. And it's not necessarily games that released this year, it's just games that they feel like haven't been recognized yet, essentially. So here's the list. Assassin's Creed, Candy Crush, Dance Dance Revolution, Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, Minesweeper, Miss Pac-Man, NBA Jam, Parappa the Rappa, Resident Evil, Rogue, Sid Meier's Civilization, and Words with Friends. And the ones that got in, I mean, if you look at that list, I think almost everything on there has an argument that could be made for it. You know, we go Assassin's Creed has this big series that's become a lot larger than what it was originally intended to be, but it's kind of become this big thing.
Mention that even the first one in and of itself is hugely influential in terms of spreading the collect-a-map type of game.
Yeah. Candy Crush, of course. Everybody knows about Candy Crush. It's
they like to or not.
A very popular mobile game. They do stupid stuff over there, but, you know, at the end of the day, it is a very popular game. Sorry, I was just trying to feed one of the dogs in the game. He was refusing to be fed. DDR, of course. It's like one of the most popular party games for a while, arcade games as well.
Yeah.
It's a very, very big game. So, I think the argument pretty simple for that one. Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. The fact that it wasn't already in there is a little bit of a crime.
Yeah. One of the most influential action games of all time. One of the most influential games for Nintendo as a company of all time. I think I would argue that. So, and then Minesweeper. I mean, it can't be argued. It was on every Microsoft computer for a while. It's probably one of the games that's been played the most by people of our generation. Just because it was there and it was free. Miss Pac-Man. I'm sure Pac-Man's already in there, so they're just like, well, Miss Pac-Man. It's Pac-Man, but Miss. NBA Jam was very influential at the time. It's kind of... every sports game has kind of copied it a little bit. Sports games are what NBA Jam laid the foundation of back in the SNES days. So it's like... Parappa the Rappa is kind of, I feel like, the smallest one on this list, I guess. Yeah, I think I agree with that. It's like, it's a cult classic, but I don't think it was super influential. Because, like, I think rhythm games... It's definitely, like, a cult classic. It's, you know, worth adoration, but I don't think it's, like, I don't know. I don't think I would see it on, like, a list like this.
Yeah. Let me keep going. Resident Evil, of course, huge series, very popular. Even today, I think some of the greatest games in the series are still releasing today, so it's like deserved.
Which Resident Evil was it? Was it 1?
Yeah, it's the first one. All these games are like the first in their series. For
for Miss Pac-Man, the original sequel.
We got Rogue, which Rogue is Rogue by itself isn't really a game to write home about. It's the seeds that Rogue planted.
Yeah.
Because Rogue is incredibly influential in the gaming sphere nowadays because of the popularity of roguelikes popping off. I mean, some people obviously don't like them, like Cory, I guess, but you know.
No. I'm just kind of playing Dark Souls right now, and I just the baby skeletons.
No, but it's Rogue is so influential these days because of how popular it became. Because like Spelunky and Isaac came out, and they just like everyone was like, "Whoa, there's something that could be here," and then they just kind of went from there. I think instead of Rogue, obviously is the name of the genre, roguelikes. It's obviously very indicative of that game and the stuff that it did. That being said, in my opinion, Spelunky or Isaac is more deserving of a spot because they've kind of.
I agree with that, and I was actually going to say something similar to the effect of I think that, and this is someone who hasn't played but like has like studied extensively, I guess. Not studied, but like read and heard a lot about. I think that Resident Evil 1 probably shouldn't be the one that's on the list.
I can see that as well. Resident Evil 1's still a good game in my opinion, but I can see where that could come.
But I think it's a little different from Rogue. Not even that I don't think Resident Evil 1 is like the one that should be on the list from quality's sake, but more like Resident Evil 1. I feel like Resident Evil 4 was a lot more influential.
Yeah, I think 4. I think 2 could be argued as well. And I think 7 and 8 now are very good as well. I think 8 more so, in my opinion. But I think if you're gonna go with one, it's probably gonna be 4 of the Resident Evil series. But I think the point isn't to pick and choose. I think it's just like we're putting Resident Evil in there.
Yeah.
As
and by extension, Resident Evil as a whole.
Yeah, so it's like we understand. So the same could kind of be said for Rogue, where it's like we understand that Rogue isn't the game. The game itself isn't why it's being put in there. It's because it's had such a long, stretching reach into the industry, basically. Mm-hmm. 2 more. Sid Meier's Civilization. The first one. I don't know how good the first one is. I've never even seen it. Babu yet. I think a Civilization game at the very least is deserving of being in there. So it's being recognized as probably one of the best strategy series of all time, basically. So I'm fine with this. The other one, the final one, is Words with Friends, which... Okay, I redact my thing on Parappa the Rapper. I think this is probably the least deserving of being on the list.
I actually think it does deserve a spot on the list as a...
I don't think it's completely undeserving, but I do think compared to everything else, it's a little bit lacking.
Yeah. I feel like wow, really? It's even hitting that. I feel like as someone who was like a large part of my family was in the whole like Words with Friends constantly with everybody and their mother, like I don't. It's kind of like alongside the same lines of Candy Crush and Farmville, like if they were to be in there. But I think it would go after both of those 2 games if it was to end up in there.
Mm-hmm. So 4 of those games that are just 12 of those 12 I listed made it into the Hall of Fame. If you want to take a guess, what you think?
Ocarina, Miss Pac-Man, Minesweeper, and Assassin's Creed are my 4 guesses. Not the 4 I think deserve it the most, but my 4 guesses.
Okay, so the ones that made it, Ocarina and Miss Pac-Man did make it. The other 2 are Dance Dance Revolution and Sid Meier's Civilization. So those are the 4 that were inducted this year.
All right.
And honestly,
I got a 50%. That's not.
It's not too bad. And the Video Game Hall of Fame is kind of this interesting thing that's been... It hasn't been around for the longest time. Let me see. Let me see. Yeah, so it only started in 2015. So it hasn't been around for the longest time, but they've been introducing a lot of stuff into the Hall of Fame that's very good over time, I guess. So if you want me to go through, 2015 had 6 games. What do you want the first 6 games into the Video Game Hall of Fame were?
Pong.
Yep, that's one. Yep.
Donkey Kong.
No.
No, okay.
I will say Donkey Kong got brought in later, I believe. I could look, let me see. Donkey Kong. I thought it did. Yeah, 2017. 2017 had Donkey Kong. Balan Wonderland not in 2015, I have to say. 2018, no.
Okay.
So Pong and Pac-Man are 2. You got that right.
Mario Brothers.
Yep.
Well, no, Super Mario Brothers.
Yeah, Super Mario Bros. I can confirm the 3 left are all very big.
Sonic Unleashed, specifically only the night stages.
Can't say that one made it that year. Unfortunately, it was nominated, but
It actually did say, because I remember it happening, it actually did say in the nomination, Sonic Unleashed, parentheses, only the night stages.
Yeah. Very specific. It was weird.
Yeah, so what were the other 3, I think?
The other 3 are Tetris.
Oh, yeah,
Of course. Doom.
Oh, yeah.
Classic. And World of Warcraft.
Wow.
Oh, exactly. Wow. So those are the other 3. And I can't say any are undeserved. I think those are all 6 good games to kind of put in as representatives. The next year they inserted... there were a lot of games that were holdovers from the nomination from 2015 because there were other good games in there. So the 6 games that they had in there, 5 of which were holdovers from 2015, were Legend of Zelda: Oregon Trail, The Sims, Sonic the Hedgehog, Space Invaders, and Grand Theft Auto the Third. So,
understandable.
Introducing more and more. 2017 only got 4. It was this is when they started doing 4 instead of 6.
Yeah.
Slowed it down a little bit. Pokemon Red and Green and Blue is a holdover from 2015, so that one had been in all the years. Street Fighter 2, Donkey Kong, and Halo. Those are all nothing to argue about there. 2018, the original John Madden football, Tomb Raider, Final Fantasy VII, and Space War. So you don't know what Space War is. Space War is a very old game. I think it might have been one of the first games ever, if not like technically the first. It was made by MIT back when they were doing, breaking edge stuff.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I think I know what game you're talking about.
April of 1962, which I think might be before Pong. Let's see. Pong is like also very early. Yeah, Pong in 1972. So yeah, okay. 10 years before Pong, Space War came out. It might be the first game. I'm not too into the history of like the first game, because every time you say like, oh, this is the first game ever, somebody goes, well, actually, did you know the MIT scientists at it's just like so
yeah.
It's not to say that it is one of the first games. It might be the first.
Yeah.
Eat your damn food. This dog's gonna die because they don't want to eat. Alright, fine. We're gonna have you
Have you ever
eat.
considered that the dog wants to die?
You know, it might be. It's the one that can't walk, so.
Oh, why?
Okay, well, it's eaten now, so. It may be eating the dead body of its comrade, but. So anyway, moving on. 2019 Solitaire, Mortal
Definitely.
Mortal Kombat, Super Mario Kart, and Colossal Cave Adventure. Which Colossal Cave Adventure, if you don't know, is I think the first. Are you okay?
Sorry. You said the word Mortal Kombat to me.
So, yeah, so Solitaire, Mortal Kombat, Super Mario Kart, and Colossal Cave Adventure, which if you don't know, it's, I believe, the first text adventure game.
Okay.
So, that was 2019. 2020, Minecraft. Classic. Bejeweled. Can't really be argued much about that.
Yeah.
Centipede. Which is another ye old classic. And King's Quest, which if you don't know what those are, those are...
I know what King's
Yeah, those are point and click games built by Sierra. Very long series. They tried to do a revival like a couple of years, I want to say 2015. Like they tried to do an episodic Telltale revival. I don't know if you remember that.
I think I only remember it because I remember watching the Grumps, or no, not the Grumps, Grumpcade play. Or Steam Train.
Mm-hmm.
One of their secondary shows. It's always better
Yeah.
than the actual game.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's, that, from what I remember, it was okay, but I don't remember, I didn't see all the episodes of it, so.
Did you even finish it?
I don't know. You know, that's something interesting to look up. Search up King's Quest. Telltale in the Ninth games. 2011? Oh, it's older than I thought.
Older than you thought. Older than you thought?
Okay, hold on. So it was canceled. Yeah, it didn't finish.
Checks out.
Sag. I mean, Telltale's a whole nother. Yeah, you'd have an whole episode about Telltale.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, 2021 had Animal.
The Walking Dead episode 2 didn't end up in there.
2021 had Animal Crossing, StarCraft, Microsoft Flight Sim, and Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego?
All of those are deserving.
Yeah, and then of course 2022 we already went over. So yeah, it's a little detour into the Video Game Hall of Fame, just taking a look at it, and just it's interesting. So what do you think next year? What do you think's gonna happen?
Let's see. I think next year we're going to get. I think next year we're gonna get some games that are like. I think we're gonna get like a PS3 game on there, or like an.
Really think so? So I'm gonna before we go too deep into it, I'm gonna tell you the four basic criteria for a game,
Yeah.
just like to help inform your decision. Icon status, like if it's widely recognized and remembered. Longevity. It's more than just like something that was a passing fad, Among Us. Geographical reach, which means that it's not just in the America and the UK and or Japan and stuff. It's like across the whole world. It's recognized. And influence has exerted a significant influence on the design and development of other games, on other forms of entertainment, or in popular culture and society in general. So those are the 4 criteria they use to decide what games are inducted into the Hall of Fame.
So that's about what I was thinking, yeah. So, well, obviously there's a lot of oldies that still need to be put into, but I think the newest game on there has been like, what, PS2 era?
The newest game, might be... I think it's World of Warcraft. No, it's Minecraft. Minecraft is what it is.
Oh, Minecraft, yeah. Yeah, but I think that, well, obviously not my cup of tea. I think that modern first-person shooters aren't really represented on there at all.
That's true, yeah.
Like, Doom is like a part of their legacy, but, like, it's changed a lot since then. So I feel like either one of the really influential cover shooters, like Gears of War, even though that hasn't really...
I don't want Gears of War to be on here. I do not want Gears of War. I mean, Halo is the other. I think the only 2 on here are Doom and Halo. Halo's... Yeah, Halo.
Oh, I just completely...
2017.
Yeah, never mind then.
I think that there can be an argument made, though, for some other FPSs.
Yeah, like Call of Duty specifically, although I'm pretty sure Quake could also go on there.
I think one big thing that has not been represented on here at all is the MOBA genre, which is the biggest genre right now.
That's true. So
one of the biggest, like between it and Battle Royales. I'd say original Dota, probably not even Dota 2, just original Dota. Defense of the Ancients, which is because they want to make it like influential and iconic and all that stuff. And the original Dota is what is. It was a mod for StarCraft, and it essentially just took off from there. Or no, it was a mod for Warcraft. So, and all MOBAs have kind of sprouted from that. League and Dota 2 being the big 2, pillars, kind of, but everything else is there as well. And the other genre I say hasn't been represented yet, that has been very big, and will probably continue to be big for a while, is Battle Royales.
Oh yeah.
If I had to say put one up there, like which one started it, the argument, or not even which one started it, but like which one would represent it, the argument would have to be between PUBG and Fortnite, which is a strange argument to make. We could go with the culling, which is like I think one of the earliest, but the culling also fell off really hard, and not a lot of people know what it is.
Why are you still there?
I think the biggest 2 would be PUBG and Fortnite. I think there could be exceptions for like DayZ. Like I said, the culling, but I don't think anybody recognizes the culling. And there's a lot of older ones that could be, but I think if you're going to make an argument for a battle royale game, it really has to be between the two juggernauts, which are PUBG and Fortnite.
I feel like we're a few. I feel like it's a little too early though for PUBG to get in there. I think in a couple years we're gonna see it. I don't know if it's not gonna be next year, but I think that's that and MOBAs are the 2 big genres that we haven't seen represented yet. Rogue. Wait, do we have any immersive sims in there, like a Deus Ex style or a Thief or anything like that?
Not really with The Sims.
So I think that's also another genre. Again, not necessarily one that I particularly have played, but one that should probably be in there is, especially because they started getting really big again in the past few years, so like a Thief or a Deus Ex or one of those should probably be in there too.
Just real quiet on your end. Is he?
Oh, am I quiet?
Apparently.
Let me double check my audio. Let's see.
Oh, you should be better.
Yeah,
Now.
audio.
You should be better now. The reason why is
Okay.
because I turned down my OBS when I'm streaming console games.
Oh, okay, that's
because it
right.
runs directly through it, and so by unfortunate side effect is that I didn't turn up OBS, so you're a little low.
Oh, okay.
But you should be good now because you're going to the red now. So.
All right.
Very good. Thank you, Ramblin' Rooklu, for the advice.
Ramblin' Rooklu out here being the MVP.
The other one, of course, is roguelikes, which Rogue is already recognized as a nomination. It wasn't put in, but I think, in my opinion, it should be Isaac or Spelunky, not Rogue. Rogue is obviously the most influential thing, and it's the name of the genre, but Isaac and Spelunky are kind of the fathers, where Rogue is the grandfather.
Mm-hmm.
Isaac and Spelunky have kind of made the genre what it is today. Whether or not you like the game, Spelunky 2 is great as well. Isaac has had a couple of missteps in its life, but at the end of the day, I think Isaac is still a really good completed product, I guess.
Yeah.
So, at the end of the day, I think those two both of them deserve to be a little more recognized than Rogue, but it's just my opinion, as someone who plays a lot of roguelikes.
I think, based on my understanding, I think that you're probably right with that.
And that's not to say Rogue. If Rogue gets in, I'll be like, what the heck?
Mm-hmm.
Because it is incredibly influential. It's the first one, and it did take 20 to 30 years before the genre really became a thing, but after release,
what's more important, the far-reaching impact of Rogue existing, or the what's the word I'm trying to say here? The far-reaching impact of Rogue existing, or the direct impact of all the games that, while they followed Rogue, were more specifically following, like Isaac or Spelunky.
Right. And one more thing that I still think, another game that I think it's a little baffling to me that it hasn't been recognized yet, because, and you could say it's too recent, but I mean, Minecraft's on there and it's the same year. Dark Souls.
That's true.
Dark Souls has sprouted up a whole genre around it. Because of it, you could make the argument for the Kingsfield games before it, or Demon Souls, but I think Dark Souls is the one that kind of entered the mainstream and has sprouted this whole thing, all the way now to Elden Ring, which has really entered the mainstream. Elden Ring's very popular, and it's very much in the cultural consciousness because of the groundwork that Dark Souls and the series itself has laid. So I think Dark Souls deserves to be in the Game Hall of Fame, in my opinion. Another 2011 release, as well as Skyrim, to consider. The fact that there's no Elder Scrolls or Fallout games on there, despite them being the biggest open world RPG games in existence.
That's true.
And nothing being able to say what you want about Bethesda and how glitchy their games are and how much they don't care about story or whatever in the modern games. Nothing has been able to replicate their open world style as well as Bethesda has. Nobody's been able to do it since the days of Morrowind and stuff. They've been on top. So I feel like there could be some recognition there. Now, which game would it be? As an argument for other time. It could be. I think if we're looking on the higher end, in my opinion, could be a New Vegas.
But it is probably the best one that would go up there. I feel like Skyrim is probably the one that would be
Skyrim.
most likely, considering it's the one that has probably the widest reach.
Yeah, Skyrim is
I mean, it's been released 20
so well
million
known. Yeah, it's very well known. I'm sure Skyrim is probably the most played Bethesda game of all time.
Mm-hmm. But then again, also one of the classic Fallout games. You can probably argue should end up on.
Yeah,
there too.
the argument can be made for the classic stuff, and obviously they put a lot of weight on the classics on this list.
Mm-hmm.
There's some others that I wanted to go through that I hadn't been inducted that I wanted to kind of talk about. There was I saw one a second ago. There was Myst. So if you don't know what Myst is, it was
Oh yeah,
kind of the
best Nintendo DS game of all time.
original walking sim point and click kind of mystery game.
Mm-hmm.
That was nominated in 2017 and hasn't been put into the list. I think that might be deserving of it.
Yeah, although for me personally, as a fan of one of the best streamers of all time, Paggigalo, I think Nancy Drew deserves that spot a bit more than Myst. But that's my personal opinion.
We got Wii Sports as well, which is this kind of weird cultural zeitgeist thing because it was included in all the Wiis. To say that it is deserving of a spot, I think, is true.
It's kind of like, because its reach basically stopped after, although, you could argue it hasn't, because...
new sports game on the Switch, dude.
Well, I'm not even talking about that, because, like, because what Wii Sports represents, I think, is still alive in Dance Dance Revolution.
Okay, this is an interesting...
So, not Dance Dance Revolution as a whole. Okay, so here's my... All
right, welcome to the YRock YouTube channel here.
Alright, so here's my argument. So, what Wii Sports represents is sort of the embodiment of... Yeah, so what Wii Sports represents is sort of the embodiment of everyone can play in an active way, right? Sort of the sort of the ultimate, like, everyone at a party, let's play this game real quick, get your grandma involved. And I think that after the Wii died, that not the Wii died, but as we move past it, Nintendo no longer had that because their consoles weren't in every home anymore. But that the modern Dance Dance Revolution games that still come out still kind of hold that place.
Just Dance is what the word you're looking for.
Oh, yeah, okay, that explains why you were so confused.
I was like, what are you talking about?
I meant Just Dance. So I think because Just Dance is still around, you could make an argument for Wii Sports.
Mm-hmm.
See, this is why I don't talk by myself. Because I can't be bothered to look it up.
You're confused. You're thinking about Dance Dance Revolution because it was inducted this year, of course. That's why you're thinking about it.
Yeah, that's my problem.
Another one that was nominated but not put up, Portal.
Oh, yeah.
One of the kind of biggest puzzle games out there, representing that side of things. I think Portal deserving of a spot. I think not only is Portal deserving of a spot, I think either the original or the second one, Half-Life, is also deserving of a spot. They're very You're talking about first-person shooters. That Half-Life and Half-Life 2 are both landmark titles in the genre. Where Valve was just like, we're going to show you the most you can do with this genre at this time, basically.
Yeah. I definitely think they should be on there first.
I think a lot of the Valve is kind of not represented in this, which I think is a bit of a crime. Portal, Half-Life 1 or 2, or Team Fortress 2, I think could all be up here. CS Origins or Go, I think, could have an argument.
Yeah.
As well, I think Valve could be represented very easily in the Video Game Hall of Fame.
Yeah, and probably should be at some point.
Yeah.
Like I said, I think, yeah, so Yeah, so I think like I do kind of want to go back to. I think it's probably time for PS3 or Xbox 360, sort of that era, to kind of start showing up a little bit more.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I can see the argument, but what games would you put up there?
Well, a lot of the ones we've already discussed. I think that Dark Souls,
Mm-hmm.
Call of Duty will definitely end up there at some point, deserving or not.
I think
Honestly, deserving because
either Call of Duty or Battlefield. Probably Call of
yeah,
Duty because it's more in the zeitgeist.
yeah.
But those are the two kind of modern day like FPS multiplayer shooters that you'd think about.
Mhm. So definitely one of those. Dark Souls, I think Dark Souls 1 should end up on there.
Mm-hmm.
You could also make an argument for Demon Souls because Dark Souls like hit, but Demon Souls was getting the ball rolling in a way that Kingsfield didn't.
Mm-hmm. Here's another one. Here's another one for you that was nominated but not thing. Metroid. What's your thought on that?
Super Metroid should definitely be on there, not the original Metroid.
As somebody who's played Super Metroid, and it wasn't the biggest enjoyer of it, I do think Super Metroid is kind of deserving of a spot there. It and Castlevania have kind of melded into this one genre. Now Metroidvania is where it's like that because of them they've kind of created this, and I'm surprised to not have seen any Castlevania on this list as well.
Yeah,
because it was kind of this big landmark early series, so I'm surprised. But I think either of those could be argued to be put on there.
Mm-hmm.
Super Smash Bros. Melee was nominated one year, which if a Smash Bros. Game were to make it on, I think
it should be Melee.
I would say Melee, because Melee has stood the test of time. And I just want to, if Melee were to ever make it into the Gaming Hall of Fame, I want a little cliff note put next to there, and it's going to be like, not because of Nintendo. Nintendo's not the reason this game's in here. Nintendo, for all intents and purposes, and for however many years, they've tried to completely kill Melee in any aspect. They do not want that game to succeed, and yet the fans keep trying to bring it back, and it's the only reason why it's relevant is because fans are just ravenous about it.
100%. Oh, so Rufly, we were talking about the Video Game Hall of Fame. Sort of what's in there, what could be in there, what we think about what's in there, stuff like that. I'm trying to think.
So here's one from your era. They had nominated in 2020 was Uncharted 2.
Uncharted 2.
Surprised it was Uncharted 2, but
you know what? I think that's the one I was actually thinking of because when I was talking about like a cover shooter game should probably be in there, I think it was Uncharted that I was thinking of.
I think Uncharted deserves to be at least recognized, and it is a nominee. I don't know if it deserves to be in there, but
like it's worth being a part of the conversation at least.
There's Frogger, which I mean that's kind of self-explanatory. Everybody knows what Frogger is. There's GoldenEye,
the game that is responsible for my Game Boy Color not having a back on it.
Speaking about FPSs in some rare representation, GoldenEye 007, which is a landmark at the time. Bird noises.
That's true.
I don't know if you heard those bird noises. So, yeah, GoldenEye 007, kind of this landmark game. It's been remade 70 times.
I'm trying to think.
Guitar Hero's on here.
Guitar Hero should be, yeah.
Guitar Heroes. It had a huge cultural zeitgeist in the mid 2000s. So,
yeah,
I think
in terms of a game that deserves to be on there, Guitar Hero definitely is.
Yeah, Farmville was something that you mentioned. Farmville.
I feel like there's something on the tip of my tongue that I haven't mentioned yet. I'm trying to think about it.
So here's one that I bet you. What is a game that you would not expect to be on here, but you'd be pleasantly surprised?
Tales of Fantasia.
There's no Tales of games on here. I'm sorry. I hate to break it.
I wouldn't expect there to be.
So it was a 2021 finalist.
Uh-huh.
One of the 12 left in 2021.
Yeah.
Its release year 1982.
1982. What would it be?
Call of Duty was also nominated this year as well, by the way. So yeah, it has been nominated.
Yeah,
you're not gonna believe me, because I'm seeing this on this list and I'm like, what the fuck? But the game, one of the 2021 finalists was Tron.
Tron?
Tron.
That's a game?
You didn't know the original Tron?
No.
You should look it up. Do you think Tron just sprouted out of nowhere? Like they just put it in Kingdom Hearts 2 for no reason?
I thought Tron was a movie.
It was both. It was a game and movie at the same time, and it was like this big thing because it was like a game movie release in 1982.
Yeah, I did not know that.
Yeah, it was a double release. So I'm very surprised that Tron's on the list, and also, like I said, pleasantly surprised because I don't think Tron deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. I don't think anybody knows what that game is if you ask the normal person.
Yeah.
But I do think
you can definitely argue that Tron as a whole made an impact.
I do think there's a bit of an impact there, and I think that it's an interesting case study. I think whoever put it on there is maybe a fan of the new movies or Kingdom Hearts. So
yeah.
Which that's another argument that could be put on here. Kingdom Hearts. We could see that.
Definitely. Let's see.
The big series that I'm surprised that I hadn't seen anything of, and that I honestly think that there should be at least one game from the series on here, and if I had to choose one, it would be the second one. Would be Metal Gear Solid.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Very surprised that there's nothing from it. Metal Gear Solid 2 is not only an amazing game, but it also is Kojima basically predicting the future and being accurate, like a lot of the time. It's scary how well Kojima can write his games, and if you look at like his modern day games, he still hasn't lost his touch for his predictions.
Yeah,
I guess you look at the game that won't die in the cultural zeitgeist, which is Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance.
Mm-hmm.
That game will not die. Nobody will stop talking about it, and the reason why is because it's such an accurate prediction of the future.
Oh yeah,
it's almost surreal how accurate it is, with Senator Armstrong being this kind of exaggerated expression of modern day politics as a whole. And there's also the whole
politics is pro wrestling type of idea.
Mm-hmm. And there's also the whole speech about memes. Before memes were a thing, there's literally a speech about memes are the DNA of the soul. A character says memes are the DNA of the soul, and this was before memes were to reference internet memes, essentially.
Oh yeah.
Before the word memes became used as it is today, there was a speech about how memes are the DNA of the soul and how people pass memes along. It is, I don't know how Kojima does it. He's insane.
Kojima is obviously the type of person who reads philosophy.
Yeah,
so it's like, a Metal Gear Solid should definitely be on there.
Yeah, Metal Gear Solid as a series should be recognized, and the big ones are like 2 has a lot of stuff, 3 has a lot of interesting stuff to say as well, 4, despite its failings, has a lot of interesting stuff that's also coming true today. There's a lot of stuff in Metal Gear Solid I think deserves to be recognized.
Oh, okay. I think here's the one that I've been thinking of. A game that I personally have played, Shadow, a PS2 game, Shadow.
All right, so we're done with this segment, ladies and gentlemen. We're moving on.
What do you have in Shadow of the Colossus?
Oh, Shadow of the Colossus. Shadow of the Colossus, I think, should be in the Hall of Fame. I agree.
Yeah.
Shadow of the Colossus is this It's a game like none other. There is no game that has replicated it. There's some games that have tried, and I think
including made by the same people.
yes, and I think that Shadow of the Colossus is this weird. I don't think you can replicate Shadow of the Colossus, because if you do, you're going to either make a boring derivative mess or something that can't possibly be the same.
Not that there aren't other games that have done, in my opinion, the same thing Shadow of the Colossus has, but it's not something you can replicate.
Right. Shadow of the Colossus is a game that cannot be imitated as easily.
Yeah.
And many games have tried. But there's another.
And that reminds me of another one that is Journey. Do you think Journey or Flower?
Journey or Flower? I think Journey is the more recognizable one. A lot of people played Journey back in the PS3 days, so I would not be surprised to see that at least nominated.
Trying to think of games that like I play that I think would be like enough of a zeitgeist to have ended up on there.
Right, because there's, you think back, there's like a lot of games that you think of like, oh, that was a really good game, but would it be something that should end up on the list, you know?
Like a game that I wish could end up on the list is Pokemon Snap?
I don't think there's...
definitely Pokemon Snap should not be on the list, but like I wish it had, because I wish that type of game was more present.
Well, I was going to say I don't think there's a non-zero chance that Pokemon Snap could be nominated. Being on the list itself, I'm not sure, but
yeah. If Endless Ocean ever gets like a re-release that gets bid, then Pokemon Snap will end up. Have you ever played Endless Ocean?
I love the original Endless Ocean. I love that game.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. If Endless Ocean ever gets a re-release that gets like really big, then Pokemon Snap will end up on the list.
So here's another one that I'm not saying specifically deserves it, but I wouldn't mind seeing it on a nomination if it wasn't tied to the creator of it. It's Heavy Rain.
Yeah, that's true. Man, that guy keeps on trying to make games, doesn't he?
I'm so excited for this Star Wars game that he's making. I feel bad every time I say it, but I'm so excited every time he makes it.
Wait, he's making a Star Wars game?
Yeah, you didn't see? They did a big like trailer and everything, and at the end it was like made by Quantic Dreams, and I was like, yes!
You know what? If anyone can capture George Lucas, it's David Cage. Oh, I don't think I've ever said anything so mean about George Lucas before in my life.
Well, if you want to talk about another hack in his series, we could talk about Peter Molyneux's Fable. That could be argued to be put up as a nomination.
Yeah, I could definitely see Fable.
It's not to be extremely insulting to Peter Molyneux, but I think he is a bit of a hack.
100%.
Mass Effect, I think, if we're going... BioWare, I think Mass Effect could be argued, but even before Mass Effect, you could look at like KOTOR and KOTOR 2.
And Shadow the Hedgehog.
Right, yeah, KOTOR and KOTOR 2, yeah, you're right about that.
Infamous.
Super Mario 64, maybe. I mean, it was this... probably the best 3D platformer of its time. I'm not even going to say probably, I'm going to say it is the best 3D platformer of its time. And it still stands the test of time. You just had to have a little, you put a little elbow grease into it.
Yeah. Have to put a little elbow grease into it and find a decent way to play it.
Yeah. Red Dead Redemption, I think, could be argued. But they already have a Grand Theft Auto game on there. And it's not to say like it has to be exclusive, but I think Red Dead Redemption, I think more so Red Dead Redemption 2, which is, it's a little too soon to be considering that, but I think more so Red Dead Redemption 2 is like kind of this culturally recognized game that a lot of people talk about.
That's true.
BioShock, or System Shock if we're going before it. I think, are both ones that could be kind of nominated up there.
I feel like System Shock.
The issue with System Shock is people know about it. I don't think people have played it. Like,
That's
nobody's
true.
played
That's
System Shock besides like 40-year-olds that are into games. Like and a lot of people have played BioShock or BioShock Infinite.
Oh yeah. Oh, and that probably would be the immersive sim slot. BioShock counts, right? Again, that's me talking about a genre I'm not super over in personally.
Yeah, if you're counting Deus Ex in it, then yeah, I'd say BioShock counts. They're similar more than that. The God of War series is unrepresented, and I think that might have a deserving spot, depending on your opinion.
If the new God of War hadn't come out a few years ago, Dad of War, if that hadn't come out, I think God of War might not have deserved the spot.
Okay.
Not that its influence wasn't big, but I think that it personally... I think that its survivability would have been up for debate.
Okay, I can see that. Next we have next one that I'm going to bring up is Xenoblade. I think if we're talking like kind of modern JRPGs, I think Xenoblade and maybe even like Xenogears and stuff deserves a little talking about. I think JRPGs aren't unrecognized on the list. There's Final Fantasy VII on there and stuff, and like Final Fantasy was nominated as well. But they're for as big as a genre as JRPGs are,
there is definitely not enough on there.
Yeah, there's some the Dragon Quest, like throw
that
in there.
There's no classic RPG on there, is there?
What do you mean by classic RPG?
Like 16-bit.
Final Fantasy was nominated,
but it didn't
the original
get
one.
on.
It didn't get on. Final Fantasy VII got on, but
personally, I think Dragon Quest should be on there over Final Fantasy 1, probably.
I think
like
Dragon Quest. I think Dragon Quest 3 deserves to be on there. Dragon Quest 3 is like this huge landmark game. 1 and 2 are kind of they're good, but 3 is like something else. And I can't speak too much in the original like Final Fantasies. I'm not too versed in them. But 6 is definitely like the one when I think of old Final Fantasies. 6 is the one that I think of, like a big game that people would probably remember. Hey, here's one. Remember the Batman series of games?
Arkham or
Arkham Asylum. NES. Shut the fuck up. Arkham Asylum. Arkham City.
The Super Nintendo ones were actually pretty good platformers, but yeah, the Arkham ones probably.
I think Asylum or City. I think City specifically. I think City builds on Asylum a lot and makes it better, and I think they deserve to be nominated at least.
Mm-hmm.
An argument could be made for Borderlands if you want to talk looter shooters, which we haven't really talked about.
Yeah. Are there any dungeon crawlers on there? Because I know you said the word loot, so I feel like Diablo.
Yeah, I mean, you could Diablo 2. I'd say would be deserving of a spot on the list, in my opinion. I'm trying to think of what else in terms of looters. I don't know, but there's also like older Diablo 2 makes me think of like older like CRPGs, like Tides of Numenera, which you could say, not Tides of Numenera. Tides of Numenera is the sequel that came out. It's Planescape Torment, which is an oldie. It's back in the Baldur's Gate era. Those games as well. But Planescape Torment, I think, is the one that's like, in my opinion, stands above the rest, and it's very good. The unfortunate thing is it's not really recognized today, even though I think it is kind of like a cornerstone for a lot of story writing in games. But that's the one I think of. One I forgot to mention when we were talking about BioWare, Dragon Age. I think you could... Arguably, Dragon Age Origins could be just like straight up put on the list, not even a nomination, I'd say. But
oh yeah, I definitely see that. I personally never played it, but I watched my mom play some of it, so like
there's something
that definitely could hold a place.
There's something I think BioWare deserves to have something on the list. Is what I should say. Um,
What else are we thinking of?
there's the original Plants vs. Zombies. Unfortunately, it's been retroactively ruined by EA. But I think
That's true.
the original one is pretty good. Made a bit of an impact. Dead Space maybe could be like something you could think about. The Far Cry series.
Mm-hmm.
We're bringing up Valve, but this is more Turtle Rock, but Left 4 Dead.
Left 4 Dead, in terms of like multiplayer games, Left 4 Dead 2 probably definitely deserves a spot.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of something everyone was like playing all the time, like right up there with Halo. Well, maybe it didn't have the same wide reach as Halo, but I feel like in terms of like being played all the time.
Mm-hmm. The
At
Devil May Cry series, I think, might deserve a little spot on there.
Oh, certainly.
Which one? I'd say probably 3 or 4, right? Like, 1 is good, okay, 2 is dog ass.
Oh yeah, I think one of the Mario Party should probably be on there.
Yeah, I think that's a good, fair one to kind of put up. I think.
Mm-hmm. Or Fortune Street.
Oh well, okay. Well, it's going a little crazy. Persona series. I think Persona holds a lot of thing in the zeitgeist. You know, people.
Yeah.
Shin Megami Tensei's fans are crying right now, but Shin Megami Tensei is nowhere near as popular as Persona is.
Yeah.
So
Persona 4 is probably the one that would end up there.
Yeah, I'd say Persona 4 or 5. Those are the two that are like the biggest. 5 is just a little too recent, so if one were to be like next year, for instance, it'd probably be Persona 4 or maybe 3 because 3 has a lot as well. Here's one that I'll come out of left field with you on.
Okay.
If we're talking more recent games, I think the Lego Star Wars game should be considered, put in the mind, because Lego games started becoming popular around this time. And the one that I remember very distinctly, and I think a lot of people remember, is the Lego Star Wars game specifically, where it was like it spearheaded the Lego dominance for a couple of years that would be in video games.
You know what? I think you're right. I absolutely agree with you.
That's if we're talking like more modern.
Yeah.
Kind of something that can be put in.
My next one was going to be Harvest Moon or Rune Factory.
Okay.
I think.
I don't think Rune Factory has enough interest.
That's true. Yeah, so it would definitely be Harvest Moon.
I think because like Rune Factory, the newest one just released on Switch and it was good, but nobody. I think the player numbers are very small for it.
Yeah,
at least outside of Japan.
Around to it yet.
It's good. All the female romantic partners are all underage teens, but you know, it's, Japan. Listen, there's one that's an adult, okay?
Listen, the game takes place over several years, so they'll all be adults eventually.
Freaking angry.
Are
there any that you hope could be on the list?
That I hope would be on the list?
They hope that you know could never make it.
I hope that I know would never make it. Tales of Symphonia. I know it would never make it, and I don't know if it really necessarily deserves it. I
don't think Tales of Symphonia is completely out of there.
I feel like Tales of Symphonia to me would fall under a similar, maybe deserves to be on there more than Parappa the Rapper, as like, you know, it has wide-reaching influence, and it's like very popular in like a cult sense, but like in terms of like being a part of the zeitgeist, I don't think it really gets there.
Oh, when I forgot to mention Crysis, probably we'll see a Crysis game being nominated at least. I don't think it will be put on, but Witcher 3, I think. It's a little too recent, but I think they could be on there. For the game that I would want to be on the list, but I know we'll never make it, for me, would be Spore. I'd love to see Spore, but the unfortunate fact of the matter is people didn't like Spore that much. Spore had a lot of issues. And it's just something that's like, at the end of the day, it doesn't deserve to be on there. But, man, I'd love to see it on there.
Yeah, thinking about a game that I think I wish would be on there, but will never end up. Pokemon Sun and Moon. Although, honestly, I think the worst Pokemon games, Pokemon X and Y, you could make an argument for being on the list. Because in terms of making competitive Pokemon, like that aspect and sort of the performative, like, spectator sport part of it, in terms of making that more widespread, Gen 6 was where it really started to take off. Although it's still not big enough to actually be worth it. So if the competitive Pokemon scene grows anymore, or continues to grow over the next few years, you could see an argument for X and Y getting on there. Even though they're the single worst Pokemon games.
I think that... Well, no, I think the single worst Pokemon games are the first gen, and those are the ones that are on the... already in the Hall of Fame, but, you know.
I disagree, because the writing in the first Pokemon games is a lot better than in X and Y.
What do you mean the writing? You walk into the thing and it's like, I am Giovanni, you fight me now. Oh, you beaten me. Me am Giovanni, leader of Team Rocket. Like, what are you fucking talking about?
Wait, you don't notice the writing? Okay. Next podcast is going to be the writing of Gen 1.
Yeah, that'd have to have me play through Gen 1 and that ain't fucking happening.
Listen, we can do it together.
No.
The writing of Gen 1, talking with mechanics and rivals.
I'm saying is Gen 2 actually had a good story and was interesting compared to Gen 1. And
Gen 2 is 100% better than Gen 1.
Built upon everything in Gen 1, and Gen 2 is the basis for the series, but nobody ever recognizes it. So.
Crystal version is my second favorite Pokemon game. Yeah. In my opinion, slight tangent. I do think.
And Gen 3 built upon them all and became the best in the series. Is all I can say. But you know.
Okay. Hot take here. Gen 3 would be much better games if you didn't get Fly until you got to Moss Deep.
I can punch around with that. I can agree.
I think that getting Fly while you're halfway through the longest trek and most difficult adventure part of the game totally takes the wind out of the sails and ruins the pacing.
I can agree, but at the same time, Gen 3 is perfect, so you're wrong. A series that I'd like to see on there as well, that I don't think will ever be there, is Scribblenauts.
Oh yeah, I see that.
Scribblenauts is an amazing series about using your intelligence and ingenuity. But
I think Scribblenauts kind of Scribblenauts, you got the other Scribblenauts games. I think Drawn to Life was after Scribblenauts, right? It was definitely in the Scribblenauts adjacent.
Yeah, Drawn to Life, made by the same people, and it was the first one is a really good game. The other one's following it. But I think it can be argued that Scribblenauts, I think I could see it being nominated. I don't think it would ever end up in there, though. Drawn to Life, I don't think I could even see it being nominated.
Oh, definitely don't see Drawn to Life, but I think that Drawn to Life's separate sort of cultural cachet is enough to make Scribblenauts at least worthy of a thought of nomination.
Yeah. Okay.
I feel I know there's
this guy's forgetting Locke's Quest.
I feel like there's something that I'm thinking of, but I just can't remember.
Well, what's a game that you would never ever want to see on the Hall of Fame?
Never want to see on the list?
But you think might make it, yeah.
God. No Man's Sky.
I have to disagree with you there. I have to disagree with you.
You think it would deserve a spot?
I don't think it necessarily doesn't deserve a spot, is what I'll say. Because this is actually a thought that I was thinking about recently, and I was like, I should write down like a script for this and make a video or something. And then here, the clickbait name of the video is going to be like, Miyamoto was wrong. And it's just going to have that quote from Miyamoto saying, a delayed game is eventually good, a rushed game is bad forever, or whatever. And it's going to be like, Miyamoto was wrong. But I was thinking about that, and I was like, in the modern day, you don't have
That's
to.
Not true anymore.
Yeah, on release, your game can be as fucking dog shit as you want it to be.
Mm-hmm. You know, and
it might actually. Well,
I wholly support you making that video.
Well, it might actually. Here's the thought process behind it: is that it might actually help you out in the long run to release a game in an absolute dog shit state because you didn't have enough time and you're being pressured by like. Your company, for instance, No Man's Sky, Sony was like, you need to release this game. You're being pressured by this company to release this game, and you're making false promises, and then the game releases, and it's hugely disappointing, and then over the next half a decade, you just pump out update after update after update that makes the game actually what you promised. And suddenly, this game had this huge, basically free PR thing at the beginning, where it was like the game is dog shit. And then after half a decade, it's finally in the state where you want it to be at, and a lot of people know about the game, and a lot of people are going back to the game like, wow, I can't believe it's this good now. I still don't like No Man's Sky in the modern state. Like, I don't enjoy playing it because the gameplay loop is not something that I enjoy, but I think that they've done a lot of work to make the game something that they wanted to enjoy, and it's especially surprising coming from this company that was essentially Sony forced them out the door as fast as possible, and the only thing that they had worked on before No Man's Sky was Joe Dirt games. Like, this is a company that had nothing to do with this kind of genre. I'm pleasantly surprised with the story. I think in a perfect world, men like me wouldn't exist, but this is not a perfect world. But besides that, in a perfect world, they would have gotten to spend those extra 5 years in development time and just developing the game as they see fit, and then releasing it in a state that was actually comfortable for them, instead of having to spend those 5 years working to make sure their user base doesn't die.
Yeah. All right. You know what?
And
here's my offer to you.
Well, I wanted to before we tangent off of this, I wanted to say the reason why I was thinking about this is not just because of No Man's Sky, but also there's another game, Fallout 76, that has done the same thing, released in an absolutely abysmal state. Everybody fucking hated it, and now people are coming back to the game and saying, you know what, it's actually good, and some people are even saying it's better than Fallout 4, which is the most recently released game. Like, people are like, this game is actually good now. It's been half a decade since its original release, and they've been pumping out updates. It's like we see it again, and it's something that I think we're going to see a little bit more in the future, because companies are seeing that it works now. So they're just going to be, we've had early access, which is kind of like the proto version of that, where it's like, we're just going to release our game in a broken, buggy mess state, but it's early access, so you can't really be like mad about it. Yeah. And then over the years and years, they'll either release the game or completely drop it by the wayside. Like, for instance, Ark Survival Evolved. But, we're not going to mention any names here. But it's just like, there are... It's kind of the proto aspect of that, and we're still seeing it today, and we've seen it far back in games. For instance, Mountain Blade Warband kind of started the early access train, and then now in Bannerlord, they're doing the same thing, where they've been in early access, and it's like, the game's been out for a couple years now, but I don't ever want to go back to it until the game is fully released at a release date. And, it's like, some people I know I can trust, like the people that are behind making Bannerlord, I'm pretty sure I can trust them because they've done this before in a big major game, where it's like some companies, they're just doing it because they want to get the game out. And I think that's something, we're going to see this, maybe not so much in the form of early access, but we're going to release the full game, and it's Fallout 76, and it's dog shit, and we're having a bunch of people buy it on release, and it's absolute garbage, and then 6 years later, it's actually the game that the people working on it wanted it to be, but it was released early. Yeah, so I think we're going to see a bit more of that in the industry moving forward. unfortunately, as games as a service becomes more popular as well.
Yeah, so I have a couple things to say to that. First off is that I wholly support you making that video. And offer a free proofread of your script.
Miyamoto was wrong, and it's just Miyamoto's face, and it's edited game theory style, where he's like crying and he has a frown, and it's just that quote in the background.
There's like a big circle with a line through it over the whole screen.
and like faded in the background, are just the Hello Games logo and the like Brotherhood of Steel mask from Fallout. It's faded in the background, so it's like
oh, I hate that. But
that's my thumbnail right there.
Free what's the word? Free proofread for you. You just proofread one of my scripts in the future. And then the second thing I wanted to say, more off your actual point, is that all of my problems with what you have said, like, not like I think you're wrong, but like my all like the bad things that I can think of about what you've said, like bad like real life things, are problems not with the people making the games, but with the industry as a whole.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it's the industry is the games industry, and it's something that will not be able to change, no matter how hard we try, very much.
Not until we overthrow capitalism.
Well, listen. All I'm saying is, we've had the longest amount of years where we've lived at the best state of life under capitalism. I'm not saying that capitalism is the end all be all, but especially not late stage capitalism, but it makes living life a little comfortable. I mean, I hate late stage capitalism as much as the next guy.
Well, I appreciate all the people that live that do good things for us and inventions and whatnot.
Mm.
If only they had all the time in the world to work on the things they wanted to.
Yeah.
But so game industry, done a game industry.
I mean, there's a because since I'm working in, I'm more or less going to do software development.
Yeah.
And I'm working in, I'm getting my degree in computer science, and there's a kind of like, I don't know, it's not a saying, but it's like a understanding, I guess, in the industry, where it's like getting into a job is very difficult. In the software engineering industry, getting into a job is very difficult, but once you're in, the job isn't too bad. Like, the job's fairly easy a lot of the time, as long as you understand what you're writing and stuff like that. And it's like, at the end of the day, the job isn't that bad. The inverse is true when it comes to the games industry, where it's really easy to get into the games industry, but the job fucking blows for software development. That it is absolutely abysmal and horrible for anybody who wants to work in like software engineering side of gaming industry.
Yeah.
And it's just like, it's very easy to get into because you're like, oh, I'm fresh out of college, I want to, I'm a software engineer, I want to go into gaming, and they're like, okay, sure, come and work in a company, make a game. And it's like, it's a machine to pump in young developers who are passionate about, their hobby, and make them bitter and to hate the world.
Knock the soul right out of them.
So it's not really a saying, but it's like kind of this unknown or a known kind of quantity in the software engineering sphere, where it's like, try really hard to get an actual software engineering job and not like a game development related job, because game development is hell if you're just like a normal average worker in a company. Because the gaming industry fucking blows. It's pretty bad.
So bad. Anyway, so my wife is home. So good talk today. A lot of industry talk, a lot of games,
talk.
We went off.
You said, "Is there any gaming news left?" And I said, "Oh, I started talking about how Ocarina of Time was inducted into the Game Hall of Fame,
And that was over half the stream.
I spent 2 hours pretty much."
Well, so also on my end, I beat Brave Lord Nita
Nice.
on stream while I was talking about other stuff.
It's a fun fight.
It is. I don't know. I think I might have been too buff because I leveled up a couple times while I was grinding for those tridents.
Nito
I feel bad about it.
He's not that hard.
It's not that hard. Okay.
Yeah, it's just learning how to.
Yeah. Oh,
how
by the
to
way, is there a
position
trick to
yourself
Keith?
more or less.
Is there a trick to the scaleless guy? Is there a trick to it?
What do you mean?
Because he's got that one attack that just like insta kills you.
You can do damage to him, right?
Yeah.
Oh, then
I think
fine.
so?
You're fine.
Oh wait, no, I did damage to him with a bow one time.
You haven't figured out how to do damage to him?
No, not yet.
Oh, you'll figure it out.
I'll figure it out. Okay. He's the last one, so.
All I can say is, really, really take in everything and try to process it and learn what you got to do.
Okay. Anyway, thank you very much for
be
the
perceptive
podcast
to your environment.
Thank you very much for the podcast today, Paul.
Yeah.
It was fun. Good discussions. Next time, hopefully, we can start on the Kingdom Hearts one or
right.
The writing of Pokemon Red, Blue, and Yellow.
Well, slow start today, but I'm glad we kind of got off.
Yeah, we found our series of tangents.
It's a good one today, and I think there's plenty of places we can go for the next podcast.
Yeah,
I could watch the Dragon Quest movie finally.
Yeah, please do. I want to talk to you about that so bad.
Yeah, we didn't talk about. I thought we were going to talk about all our interests today. We didn't really talk about anime much at all. Dang.
We can dip back to it. Anyway, I really do have to go. Thank you all very much. Oh, check out my YouTube channel where I've posted my first YouTube video in like over a year. So check it out.
Yeah, I did see that actually.
Yeah,
right before the stream, I saw that.
Yeah, it's going over a replay from my recent tournament game. So exciting. Yeah, so bye, stream.
Cool. Check that out. See ya.
This was good talks today. All good talks.
Mm-hmm. Really, he just left. Well, that was fun. What am I doing right now? Don't worry about it. So that is it for the stream today. This wasn't even supposed to originally happen because I was supposed to have D&D today, but it ended up being canceled. Trying to think. I'm not planning on any streams. My summer semester starts the 9th. I only had a week off. Starts this Monday. I have 3 weeks off in between the summer and fall semester, though, so I'm like pog. And I looked ahead and I was like, oh, 3 weeks off. Oh. But yeah, I've been busy. I'm moving and new puppies, which is I didn't want, but it's not my decision to make. It's my sister's house, so she decided to get new dogs, and she's at work all the time, so I'm taking care of them half the time. So, it makes me a little sad. But at the end of the day, yeah, a new bookshelf's coming in today, so I can finally build that. My parents decided to bring all my games to my sister's new house since I have more room now. So I have to put all those onto a shelf. I might take a picture of it and send it to my friends on Twitter and stuff. But yeah, so I'm just busy with unpacking and dogs and stuff. I haven't been able to really consider streaming even. But I did good this semester, all B's. Makes me happy. And, you know, I got the hive ready. Honey being made. But the summer semester is 12 weeks, and it's two, like, kind of classes I have to be proactive on instead of reactive. Like, as soon as the assignment's posted, I have to start working on it for both of them. So, I'm not sure how free I'll be to stream, to be honest. Especially because I am supposed to be DMing a game for newbies soon, which was supposed to happen today, but it got canceled due to multiple reasons. So, we'll see. But yeah, it's not bad. Not a bad life right now, but I just gotta... There's 10 million different things to check off on my list, and I gotta start checking them off. So saying that, I'm gonna go watch some Gintama now. Why, it's pretty good. It's pretty good, I gotta say. I cannot lie. Gintama's pretty good. It makes me laugh, okay? It makes me do the laugh funny haha. And it makes me enjoy it. So anyway, stream's over. Thank you guys for coming around. Thank you for anyone that showed up for our rambling, Roku or otherwise. Sorry, my mic was probably not set up correctly. Cory was muted half the time. Very low. I'm sorry in advance for that. I looked over and saw my mic peaking a lot, so I'm sure my mic was dog shit. But then my setup right now is turkey ass, so there's nothing I can really do about it. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 boxes / containers still left to unpack. And 3 bags full of clothes that I have to sort through to see which ones I want to like donate and give away and stuff. So yeah, and I'm trying to get that done before Monday, so should be fun. You hear some dogs barking, so they want to go out. They woke up. They were asleep this whole time. Thank fucking God I didn't have to take them out at all. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. That's it for me. I will see you next time I stream. When is that going to be? I couldn't tell you, buddy boy. I couldn't tell you. Okay. Talk to you guys later. Peace out. Bye.